Everyone sees the moment the door opens, the television feature, the magazine cover, the award announcement. What nobody talks about is what happens behind closed doors the night before. The system that nobody knows about, the conversation that never makes it to Instagram, the small decisions made thousands of times that look invisible until they suddenly look like overnight success.
That's right, and here's the brutal truth nobody wants to hear. You don't become great at something because you had one big break. You get the big break because you already became great. The world doesn't recognize what it hasn't seen. It just finally catches up to what was already there.
Today, we've got someone in the room who just landed a national television feature and a major industry recognition in the same month. But we're not here to talk about either one of those.
So we're here to talk about the 10 years nobody was watching, the version of her that existed before any of this happened, because that version is the actual story.
All right, so let's bring her in and let's find out what really is happening behind that closed door. Howdy, everyone, and welcome back to the Mortgage 101 podcast. I'm Manley Haines.
And I'm Anthony Valentino.
Today, we're sitting down with Tara Meinholz, a real estate agent out of Wisconsin who just had the biggest months of her career. Her first episode of The American Dream premieres July 25th, and the next month of Real Producers magazine is naming her Leader of the Month. Amazing.
Big welcome to Tara. Welcome to the show. We're super excited to have you.
I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So happy. Congratulations on both. But we're not spending today on the headlines. Everyone can read the headlines. We want to work through what earned them. Walk us through what an actual week looks like for you. Not the highlight reel week, but a real one.
Are you talking about lately or every day? 'Cause
Every day.
lately has been
a little
a
chaos,
little
right?
bit of a whirlwind. From structuring, getting up, looking at emails every day, responding to emails every day, checking MLS, making sure that my clients have the newest listings, to basically going to showings and listing appointments and checking in with all of my agents to make sure that, you know, anything that they need is taken care of and their questions are answered and their documents are reviewed. And then I get home and pretty much do the same thing. Check my emails again, make sure that I have everyone, you know, contacted and phone calls made. And then I go back on MLS. And check if there's been any new listings, you know, since I left the house. But
MLS stalker.
yes, pretty much. But lately, there's been a lot more that's been added to that between
All the stuff.
photo shoots and recording and podcasts and all that fun stuff. But I'm really grateful for it.
Awesome.
So Tara, you mentioned systems. So break that down to us and for the viewers, what does that actually mean for your normal day? Give us an example of a system that most agents don't have so we can kind of have a 30,000 foot lens on the day in the life of Tara with an example of one of these systems in real life happening.
Honestly, everything I do is structured from my boys to my business to make sure that I can be at all places at one time and make sure I get everything done every day. But I had to kind of structure it as far as the mornings, making sure that I was getting work done before I had to get my kids up and checking emails and checking MLS. And checking MLS is a big thing. I'm not one that puts everyone on a drip, and I want to be able to be there for my clients and make sure that they are one of the first to be able to see that something's hit the market. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that everyone that needed to connect with me has connected with me. And I think that's a huge thing in this industry, is to constantly be available and to take care of things on a daily basis rather than waiting a few days.
Being available all the time is a very difficult thing, but here's what I'm hearing. You don't do this stuff randomly. Everything has a reason, and when you start thinking that way, that's when you realize what's necessary and what's not.
Absolutely. I think that I had to start prioritizing, what was really important, what keeps the business going, anything from marketing to keeping connections with past clients to keeping, lenders happy, title companies happy, and just moving forward with a way that I can make everyone happy and be available. And I think that's a huge thing in this business is, being available, answering your phone, getting people things ahead of time and making sure that their transactions run smoothly.
Trying to answer questions before they become questions.
Right. Taking care of it before they even know it's an issue. I mean, that's huge. There's a lot of things that we do behind closed doors that people don't even realize that we're saving their transactions. And I think that's what sets us apart as well.
So, Tara, a lot of agents will listen to this and they're going to say, I should probably organize better. But knowing something and actually doing it are two different things. What actually are you committing to when you're building these systems? Rather than just talking about it, like what is the non-negotiables that you set for yourself, knowing that these systems are going to play out?
So honestly, we sit through so many seminars and stuff that says we should be posting this many times a day. We should be making sure we're answering people within these amount of days. And I feel like so many people get excited when they leave those things and then they don't actually do them after a week or two. They kind of put it to rest and they're not on top of their game. And I think the big thing and what I tell my agents all the time is sometimes you feel like you're pedaling really fast, but you are being seen and you are being recognized and you are being, respected, and just to keep pedaling, especially when it comes to marketing. I know some things that take us, a few hours to put out there and we might get 5 likes, but maybe 1,500 people viewed it. So at the end of the day, someone's always watching, someone's always appreciating you, and you have to take the steps to continue to build your business and your relationships.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're talking about consistency. And
Yes.
Very simple, overview. But hey, I want to go back just a little further, back into your career prior to having your own brokerage. I know where you came from. I know the big brokerage that you came from. And I know where we met. And tell me a little bit about that. What was that turning point for you that turned you into trying to build these systems and going, I can do better than this big brokerage house that I'm dealing with, and I can do a better job for my clients, and I really have this passion to jump out and create, the company that you have now?
Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest thing for me was starting as a new agent. I had so many questions and I felt like I needed someone to lean on, and I was in my early 20s, and sometimes going up to someone in a business suit that's quite a bit older than you can be really intimidating. And I would ask other agents in the office for help, and it wasn't really there. So I think with starting this brokerage, one of my main goals was to provide my agents the type of support that I wish that I had starting out. And a lot of these brokerages, they train you the documents, they train you the systems and how to do all of that, but they don't really prepare you to actually build your business, how to do an open house, how to talk to clients, how to answer emails and build that structure as far as building relationships. You don't really get that out of a lot of the big brokerages, and that's one thing that I really focused on is making a list of everything that I wish I would have known when I started and the support that I wish I would have had. And we kind of went from there. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job at
Amazing.
it. Yes.
That's awesome.
Okay, Tara, so we have some questions for you just to really get to understand, you and how you've gotten to where you've gotten, because it is monumental. The first question I have is, how did you first get into real estate? And what was your first year like?
So I lived on the East Coast for a few years, and I was doing interior decorating. I kind of started my own business that took off as, basically just helping friends, and then it turned into referrals. And I moved back to Wisconsin, and there really wasn't as much of a market here for that, for interior decorating. I think people from Wisconsin are a little bit more frugal, and they think they can watch HGTV and pick out their own paint colors and their own curtains and all of that stuff, and most of us do an okay job. So I wanted to get into something that I knew was still dealing with houses, still dealing with people and building these relationships, but also could give me the way of doing design as well. And so I love going into listings and helping them move around their furniture and maybe picking out paint colors for them, and also doing a little bit of staging that way. But one thing also that kind of sets me apart is being able to walk into a house and tell buyers, like, okay, you might not see the potential, but this is what I'm seeing. And so that's kind of how I got started. I started with a business partner. We both had really young children, and we kind of did it together, where if I was out doing showings, she was watching my kids. If she was doing showings, I was watching her kids. So it worked out really well that way, and that's kind of how it all started.
Most people don't make it past year 1 or 2 in this industry, in the real estate industry. They kind of burn out, or they just don't get enough business and it freaks them out and they can't do it. What kept you going when you probably weren't making as much money and nobody knew who you were? Like, this was a fresh market for you. You came from the East Coast. You were in another industry, and you're like, whoa, I'm going to be a realtor. This is going to be amazing and super simple. Yeah. Not, right?
No. I'm not going to say it was easy by any means. I got into the business when the housing bubble started. So I was watching these agents that I completely admired, also doing side jobs and to be able to support themselves, and it freaked me out. But I think when you have goals set in place and you believe in yourself, and you have a reason that you have to keep going, you can make things happen. So I just kept going. I mean, I went from the housing bubble to COVID to, I've seen everything.
So there's a moment, right? Like with all that happening, but then something clicks, right? And you realize, okay, this is not just a job anymore. You're actually building something. When did that moment actually hit for you, Tara?
So it was a job at first, and at first it was a little bit more of a side, money side gig. I was married at the time, and I went through a pretty difficult divorce. I was left with a car that barely ran. I was left with no money in my bank account, and I found myself living in a house and all of a sudden moving to an apartment with nothing. And my biggest goal was to be able to support my children, to get them health insurance and give them the life that I dream for them, regardless of the situation. And I put a lot of that on myself.
Wow. Yeah, I think you hit on the biggest thing that most successful people tap into for their energy, right? When you wake up and you are hustling for more than yourself, but for others, that's like the best Red Bull that you can get, right? That's the best energy, because working towards something, a goal for someone else, for me, it just hits differently. Like with my family, I have 4 daughters and my wife, and they have significant others. And so we have this family, and I know every day that I'm a big part of that. And so if I was just waking up for myself, I don't know where I'd be. So it's your family, right? Your boys, they're probably a big staple in that. And I can imagine being a realtor, especially during COVID and all those, trying times, and raising them. I know, Manley, you probably have a question on that, but that's probably in a feat of itself.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, that why I love you so much and love your story is, the fact that you were a single mom, you went through all that, and I knew you a little bit during that time, got to know you better after all that, and that just the focus that you put on your family while maintaining your ability to do this job as a single mother and keep your family nucleus together. I know and love a bunch of the stuff that you do with your boys, as you know, that make me super happy, and have connected us, through your hunting and all the stuff that you do to go up north to keep these boys being boys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Being a single mom, and that's amazing. Like, what out of all that, how does that help you approach your business? I mean, like, you're bringing that same feel, that love and tenderness to your business as well, with you and your realtors that work with you, correct?
Right. So yes, I do everything for my boys to give them, the life that they've dreamed of. And I want them to be proud of me and everything, but I also want my agents to have the same kind of drive. What makes you get up every morning? Because I know that if those things didn't happen and I was just depending on myself and I just had to support myself in the apartments, I know for a fact that I wouldn't be where I am today. Had I just been taking care of myself. And when my agents come in, and most of us are mothers, I want them to know that family does come first. Like, I might expect this and that out of you, but instead of, coming down on you, like, you didn't get this to me in time, if it had something to do with their children, let me do it for you. Let me help you. Being that person, that support system that I wish I had.
Yeah. Anthony does an amazing job with that, with his family as well. It's family first for him all the time, and I love that about him and love that about you. My wife would shoot me if I said it's always family first for me, because I'm a workaholic. Yes. And I don't want to go on camera and say that, no, that's
it's a constant struggle, right? Because we want to be 100% in everything we do. We want to be 100% as a mother, a father, a spouse, a professional, and so it's a constant juggling. But speaking of that, let's go back to that, Tara. Like, what's the one decision that you made early on that you can credit with changing the trajectory of where you are now? Like, is there one decision that you can think back on, like, that was it?
So it's actually kind of funny. Well, it's not funny, but one of my sons was at a babysitter and they got injured, and I was also doing property management with real estate and helping them sign leases and things like that, also doing real estate. For about 7 years to make sure that my kids and myself had health insurance. And one of my sons was injured with the babysitter, and it got to a point where we were sitting in Children's Hospital, and I was like, no, I'm going to make this happen for them. I'm going to make sure that, I can do this and support them without the two different incomes and give it up my all. And yeah, I was extremely nervous to do that. And I was like, well, if it doesn't work out after the first few months, or if I'm not bringing in the same kind of money, I can always get, a second job or whatever. And I never let it get to that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Got focused, right? And just said,
absolutely.
Yeah. What was important, you prioritized it, just like you were talking about before. You figured that out. That's amazing. Let's talk about the failures, that nobody goes from zero to leader in a month without some of the real stumbles and the failures that you bumped into along the way. I mean, this hasn't been a bed of roses. You've fought your battles. Tell us a couple of those.
I try to keep my chin held high and not think about the negative things that, I went through. I went through a lot more personal things than I did as far as a career, because I honestly think that my personal life and the things that have happened in my personal life have changed my drive and who I was completely in this business, from losing very close loved ones to divorce and all of that. Even if I had to use it as a distraction to get through life, I feel like I had more ups and downs in my personal life than my business life. Obviously, we went through COVID and kind of relearning the business, and also the housing bubble. But I tried to just kind of keep my head held high. And
we've been in an ultimate change and keep moving and forward and keep recreating yourself in this industry from the time frame you're talking about, from the housing bubble to COVID to now.
Right.
I mean, you've said you've seen it all. You really haven't, because there's still lots of crazy things that have happened in the housing industry as a whole. But yeah, you've seen a lot of chapters of it, in the ability to constantly recreate yourself and stay ahead of the game.
Right.
That's super important, and you've done a great job at that.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah, I think it's changed a lot with marketing as well. From 20 years ago, we didn't have social media, we didn't have reels, we didn't have video tours and all of that. And honestly, someone coming from my generation, we're not used to popping in front of the camera and, speaking to the camera. And it took a lot of guts and, yeah, like you said, reinventing yourself and being comfortable.
24 years old, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Like tomorrow. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, Tara. So here's what I want to know. What do you see that other agents simply do not see? Not in the market, but in the client, like in the deal. Like what's your superwoman vision that most agents don't see?
Honestly, I think it's about communication. There's so many agents that not only don't get back to other agents and mortgage brokers and title companies and stuff like that. Again, I want to make myself available at all times. I want them to know that they have a partner in this and that I'm trying to take the pressure and stuff off of them to make this a smooth transaction. But I really think that it is communication and being available. I've had many clients tell me that if it wasn't for social media, I would have thought that I was your only client. So that's a big pat on the back to me. That's a huge, yeah.
Love that quote. All right, Tara, that's a skill. How do you develop that? Is there something you were born with this? Was something that you were born with, or did you have to learn that? Or how did you get to that point with that crystal clear communication that you really are trying to achieve?
I treat people how I want to be treated. I've been through the same situations as most of these people. The reasons why they're moving. They lost a loved one. They're growing their family. They're going through a divorce. And I've been through most of those situations. And I know how I wanted to be treated and how I wanted to be communicated with. I bought my first house when I was 19 years old, and I look back even to that day of not really knowing what was going on, and not really knowing what the contracts meant and what we were supposed to do after inspection. And it's kind of actually sad looking back on that as a first-time home buyer, that I wasn't fully informed. And I feel like every experience I have builds me up better for providing for my clients in a way that, I want to be treated and I want to be informed.
And here's the hard part. What's the weakness you see in yourself? The thing that you have to work on, or it'll pull the whole thing down?
I don't want to admit this, but I know if my family was watching or if my kids were watching, they would say putting it away. I have a really hard time, putting the phone down and not replying to people right away. I do set aside time for my kids if we're doing special events, but I really notify everyone that might contact me and say, don't talk to me for a few hours. And a lot of times, even when you're on vacation, you're still talking to people, but putting it away is difficult for me. I want to be available at all times. And I've been told that I'm in the middle of a conversation and all of a sudden I stop talking and I'm looking at my phone. And I want to get better at that. Being more focused on what's going on outside of the business. So
sounds like a superpower and a weakness all in one.
Yes.
Right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I want to be good at everything I do, from being a mother to being a real estate broker, and it's just give and take, I guess.
So here's a question, and I probably know the answer just listening to you, but what does success actually mean to you, Tara? So I don't think it's the same as what most people think it means. What is your take?
So success when I first started, and this is actually going to be in the Real Producer magazine article, was being able to go to the grocery store and buy my kids food and not add up what was in the carts.
Facts.
Before I went to the register.
There's so many people in your situation who, for some reason or another, didn't think that they had the know-how or with-how to be able to change that for their situation. And you did. And you did
Right.
it in a brilliant way, to where you said, I am no longer going to be an output of my circumstances, and I'm going to change the narrative. I'm going to take back the pen to this script that was being written for me, and I'm going to become the author again. And I think that's the big takeaway here that Manley and I have is we see, we see the goats like yourself. We see the people who have all the shiny things and have all the accolades, but we really want to understand who's the person behind that. And so I really appreciate you being vulnerable here, of really showing us that, adversity is what I'm hearing is your biggest motivator of not letting circumstances define who you are or who your family is. And you're advising it in a brilliant way, just like that statement right there, not wanting to have to go into a store and hope that I'm not going to max out what's in my bank account. So many people can relate to that. And so we appreciate you being vulnerable and really opening up and letting us know about that, because it lets us know who you are as a person, and really to show other people that, hey, even the big guys, they're real, they're human. There's a human element to them, and they're not just the successful story that you see in the highlight reels.
I love this whole part of it because, again, I told this to you, this is all for me about celebrating the journey and, love the accolades, love that we're bringing you to the forefront because there's all these wonderful things happening for you right now that are like all coming together. The stars are aligning for you. But the work and all the stuff that you had to do to get there, and the little bit, that you just let us peek into that window is pretty amazing and super. Love that through deep in my heart. That just was super excited to hear more of that, and we could go on for hours talking about it.
Absolutely.
and maybe get you a little more teary-eyed, which we're not trying to do, by the way.
No.
But I'm going to ask you one question more related to business, but try to switch gears a touch here. But, there's the one question that buyers need to hear right now. If I'm looking at two agents, one has a fancy website and a big Instagram following, and one has your systems and your process, how do they actually decide? How did they figure that out? I mean, you really got to talk them through that to get that. How do you connect with them and get them to say, yeah, I'm going to work with you over somebody that has the fancy stuff that might not have the same drive that you have?
I think at the end of the day, larger brokerages can offer more technology-wise. We do have a new website coming out that's pretty crazy cool, but we don't have some of the systems that are in place. And I think at the end of the day, like a seller or buyer has to look at you and realize that they connect with you. And connection is such an important thing. Being comfortable texting someone a stupid question or calling them early in the morning because you're freaking out and you're crying, and being able to connect with them and feel comfortable with them, to have that emotional time with them and get them through. Because like I said, real estate is mostly an emotional time. I mean, it's happiness buying your first house. It's losing someone you care about, and having that connection with someone really goes a long ways.
Anthony, we're going to switch gears here a little bit here. We're going to talk about some habits of top producers. We're going to do it through our rapid fire stuff here, and we're doing it a little different because we do some rapid fire stuff sometimes with Ryan, our producer, and we're just going to do some fun facts, some actual habits that separate someone at the top from someone in the middle. We want some quick answers based on real ones. One word, one phrase, that's it. And then the first one's going to be, what time do you actually start your day?
I usually wake up around 5:30. I lay in bed scrolling my phone until about 6, and then I get up and get it going.
Get her going.
Yeah.
Get your time going. All right.
When does your day actually end?
It depends on the day. It depends on what I have going on. If a listing's going live the next morning and I'm not 100% happy with it, I might be up until 2 o'clock in the morning and getting up at 5 a.m.
You work until the work's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that. On an average day, how much time goes into work versus how much time goes into your family? What's the the percentage?
I think there's a big difference during the school year versus, during the summer, where I'm used to, during the summer, I can schedule little windows where we can go swimming really quick. And then they know that after that's done, it's time for me to go home and work. So I do try to schedule things during the week, especially when they're on summer vacation, where I can prioritize them and, make them the center of attention. It doesn't always happen, but it's something that, I do really try. And during the school year, it's dinner time. They get home, they do their homework, and then dinner time's our time. Then they have their own time. And then before bed, it's our time too, all phones away.
There you go. Love that.
So is there a time of day that you simply just don't answer your phone, like no matter who's calling?
I'm not going to lie. No. No,
Fair.
I've been known to wake up in the middle of the night and not be sleeping, and all of a sudden I'm dealing with someone that, works a different shift that's texting me at 4 a.m. and I'm answering their questions and they're like, oh, well, I didn't expect you to answer, but I didn't want to have to wake up the next morning and answer you when I'm sitting here wide awake. So no, it doesn't shut off.
There you go. Hey, what's one habit you do every single day that you would call your genuine game changer? Like that one item, that one superpower.
I think it's connection. Making sure that I have connected with past clients, future clients, and current clients. And, making sure that they know, hey, I'm on top of this. Hey, I'm available. Just checking in with you type situation. I think that goes a long ways.
Here's a hard one. So if you had one more day on this earth and it had to be work related, not family related, what would you spend it doing?
Work related.
Work related.
I don't know, that photo shoot last week for the magazine was pretty fun.
That was work related. That was work related.
And it was work related. Yeah, I had a great time with my kids and my agents, and we were on a photo shoot for almost 4 hours. And yeah, I guess I consider that work related. That's what I do.
So marketing, you would just be out there, be like, I'm going to put my last stamp and get out there as much as possible.
Absolutely.
She's making her own tombstone right there, just marking it up with the photo shoot. There you go. I like it. In one sentence, what actually shaped you into who you are in your career today?
I think I did.
You did.
Yeah.
You wrote your own story.
Yeah. I honestly do, because I was told you couldn't do it and you can't do it, and I don't like to be told that. I don't like being told no. I don't like being told what I can and can't do. So I think I did. I think
awesome.
It was with a goal plan in mind, creating an awesome life for my kids and building.
Who's your hero?
My grandpa.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you expand on that?
He was disabled. He had a wrecking ball, that breaks down buildings during construction, fall on his back. And he was barely alive under this wrecking ball and had to tell his construction crew how to get it off of him without being smashed further. He ended up breaking his back and his neck. He was told he'd never be able to walk again. And he walked. He walked pretty close to the end of his life. He led a very long life, and he was in a career that he could no longer do anymore. And he rebuilt, and he changed his direction and was able to support his family, because obviously women didn't really work that much back then. So he didn't give up. Anything he did, he didn't give up.
That's awesome.
It's a cool story.
That's a great story. Favorite color?
Teal, like the ocean.
Teal like the ocean.
Yes.
Okay, last one, straight from James Lipton. What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck. Sorry, Mom. My mom will be so upset if she hears that. We're not allowed to swear. Yeah.
I think that's the norm in this industry and in a lot of industries.
Yeah, you can use it in many different ways in many different sentences and situations. So it just pops out.
My friend Anthony here, in our little over a year of doing this, he's not the biggest swear user between the two of us by far, but I've certainly brought him into the realm of better over the last bit of time.
My wife has even noticed you know, she's just like, man, that Manley's rubbing off on you. I'm like, freaking sure is.
You can trust a person that says fuck. You can trust a person that's not afraid to swear.
Absolutely.
People that aren't doing that, like,
Yeah. Who are they really?
yeah, who are they?
Yeah.
Who are they really? That's a good question.
Who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? Tara, before we let you go, I wanted to show you something here. It's not about the accolades. It's about what's actually guiding you underneath. And you posted something a couple weeks back that made me stop scrolling. Loved what you wrote. Loved what you wrote. And you wrote something that rings true for me. And I can't even say it.
I know where you're going with this.
Anthony, you're going to have to say it for me because you know it, because I talked to you about it.
Yeah. I mean, when you say we made it, what does made actually mean? Because I don't think you're talking about the American Dream premiere. Like, what does it mean when you say we made it?
So actually what I said was, I wish I could go back and tell my younger self, you made it. Because I put a lot of stress on myself. Being the best I could be, being the best mother, and giving them a life without knowing that we were struggling.
You had some really big expectations that you for yourself, and you just kept them going and
Absolutely.
You drove
And
through it all, and all
honestly, I never
the
thought
stuff.
I'd be where I am today, and I'm so thankful.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really sunk home.
Thanks
for
for
me.
making me cry, guys.
Right? Yeah. No, it's so powerful.
Makeup person.
It's so powerful. Like you said, like if you can talk to your younger self, you know, what would you say? And it's like, we actually made it. Like, how powerful would that be? Right? Because if you would have known that, then all of those struggles, you know, and then it would have made sense, but you didn't have that, but you still pushed through. And it really, you know, it goes to, you know, Manley and I always talk about it, you know, what you perceive is what you think, and what you think is what you feel, and what you feel is what you do, and what you do is who you become. So it ultimately becomes, what is your what is your perspective? Because that drives everything. And so thank God that you were in control of your perspective, because it just made everything else come to what it is now. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you didn't, and you let the naysayers win, you let the world dictate for you, and you listened to them when they said that you couldn't do it, who knows where you could have been right now.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love the story, and it was super important for me to get you on here to do this, because I wanted to have this moment, even though I was trying hard not to get myself, because I just love that statement so much. We might have to do a retake on that, just because, I mean, to me, that's such a powerful thing, and I know you so well, and I just know what that meant, you know, for you to go from here to there, and to write your own story, write your own narrative, and make it happen for your entire family.
Yeah. And I think to appreciate those steps and those milestones, from, you know, buying my first car by myself, you know, to appreciating them, I really do. Yeah. I stop and I'm like, God, girl, keep going.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at how far you've come.
Yeah.
And
don't stop now.
Yeah, don't stop now. And it's been amazing to see my older boys watch me grow. Yeah. And I think it's made them a little bit of who they are today. Yeah,
it's amazing.
We just whipped through a lot of stuff here, and just super powerful. And I just appreciate so much that you got on and talked to us and got vulnerable with us.
Yeah,
and talked about your true self. I hope it wasn't too much.
No, I didn't expect to cry, but here we are.
Yeah. Now, thank you. Thanks for walking through, you know, this, but reminding us that, you know, for everyone watching, that the door opens only for people who've already done the work behind it, you know, and you have to put that work in. Otherwise, that door is just going to continue to be a door that's shut. So
I agree.
Yeah, congratulations on
Thank
everything.
you.
Bill,
Thank you so
worked hard.
much.
Yep. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Anthony and I are going to stick around and hit a few takeaways, jump into our market, and close out with our regular segments. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Huge thank you for Tara Meinholz today. Amazing. Anthony, before we get to the market, there's one thing she said that really stuck with me.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's the reminder that none of this happens overnight. Every opportunity she got and we get, it's earned from years before anyone pays attention.
That's what our open was really all about. The door only opens for people who are already there and did the work behind it. We compare our chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 20, and that's dangerous. That's a dangerous habit because we never saw what it took to build the chapters between to get to chapter 20.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing is true with buying a home, right? I mean, people see somebody get the keys. They don't see the planning, the saving, and the conversations. More importantly, the education and the team behind it.
And that's the whole reason this podcast exists. Buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will ever make. And understanding the journey is what builds the confidence to make a good one.
Okay, Manley, let's talk about what's actually happening right now in the mortgage market. The 30-year fixed is sitting at 6.72% according to Mortgage News Daily. It's up 8 basis points on the day. The 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.62%, up 6 basis points today. But the numbers that actually matter is the UMBS 5.5 coupon. It's down 37 basis points today. That's not a small move. That is a real repricing in a single trading session, and it shows up directly in your rate quote by tomorrow morning.
Yeah. And here's the conversation we think people need to actually start having. Days like today happen because of small shifts in data and sentiment. Nothing broke, nothing derailed. This is just a normal market noise day. But if you want to see rates move in a real, meaningful way, not 8 basis points, not 37 basis points on a coupon, we're talking a genuine, lasting drop that doesn't happen from normal noise.
Yeah, I mean, that happens when the economy actually breaks, and that's not what we're seeing here. I mean, we're talking job losses, a real slowdown, fear serious enough to send investors running to bonds.
So before anyone roots for a big rate drop, ask yourself, what actually has to happen to get one? Because a derailed economy handing you a lower rate is not a win. It's a trade. And most people haven't thought through what they're trading away to get it. All right, today's moment. The biggest mistake we'll see people is shopping for a house before they've talked to a lender. Start with a plan. Know your numbers. Know what you're actually comfortable spending. Then go have fun looking at houses with confidence.
That's right. And remember, being pre-approved isn't just about knowing what you can afford. It's about walking in as the strongest possible buyer the moment you find the right home.
Anthony, let's come back to where we started. The door only opens for the people who have already done the work behind it. Whether you're building a business, raising a family, buying your first home, or just becoming a better version of yourself, don't judge your journey against someone else's highlight reel.
That's right. And celebrate the progress, celebrate the lessons, and celebrate the people walking beside you. One day, someone's going to look at your life and think they made it look easy. They'll never know the miles it took, but you will. And that's worth celebrating.
Yeah, Anthony, I love that. It's all about celebrating the journey, and just want to highlight that again. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. If you've enjoyed today's episode, like, subscribe, and leave us a review. And share the Mortgage 101 podcast with someone who's getting ready to start their own home ownership journey. We'll see you next time.
Girl, from the heart of Wisconsin to the waves of Hawaii, Manley and Anthony keep it real, not salesy. Breaking down rates and the truth you need to know with a little soul and a little homegrown flow. It's the Mortgage 101 podcast where real talk meets home at last. Manly's got that Midwest soul. Anthony brings that island roll. 101.